T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Shout out to Kopish.
Shout out to Kopish, guys.
All the good work
the
up.
two legends, Emil Heskey, Howard Gill. Can't get much better than that guy. Yeah. You know what to do now. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm with legends, guys.
Kopish.
What it do, people? It's Monday night, so you know what time it is. It's time for the Monday night show. It's going to be a much shorter show due to traffic, which is apologies for why we're running a little bit late. Traffic had me, it was punching me up, man. It was getting me mad. And obviously we've got the game starting in a minute. But as you can see, got a very special guest in the building. You know him from the Friday night calling show originally, but he's got his own show now. It's Mr. Jerry James. What's going on, bro?
What's up? I'm glad to be on the channel, man. Big up everyone, obviously, in the chat as well. I've seen the comps have been flying from early, so yeah. Thanks so much for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
No, it's a blessing, man. Big up, man. We've been needing to get you on for a minute, so I thought this is the perfect time to get you on. And I'm sure you're going to have something to say about what we're going to be talking about this evening.
Yeah, I got a lot to say, man. I got a lot to say.
Obviously, you let me know about the lineup just a minute ago. We're going to get into that, but we'll get into that a little closer to kickoff. But yeah, all right. I don't even know where you lie in this conversation, bro, yeah? But I'm sure you guys know where I lie. Like, I'm fully putting this on FSG way more than I'm putting on anyone else at Liverpool. But this midfielder situation, our whole transfer policy, being loyal to players, having players in the squad we shouldn't have in the squad, all that good stuff. After what Klopp said the other day, everybody's been talking about it. Everybody's been trying to figure out what it is, where it is, what it is, where it is. So Jerry, have you seen it first of all? Have you seen the
I've seen snippets. I've seen snippets, and obviously I'm in the group chats where everyone's been talking about it. Yeah. I mean, to start off, I'm not on the FSG train. I don't think it's an FSG thing. I think it's a Klopp and FSG thing. I think it's a marriage made in heaven. I think they both go and they act, they work in tandem to obviously then create what's going on now. Klopp's a master, obviously, getting the best out of his resources, and it almost seems he gets a kick out of, bringing in a genie, for instance, and saying, you know what, he's an attacking mid, I'm going to make him into an industrial midfielder, or bringing in, a Thiago and teaching him how to run as opposed to being, just flawless on the ball, all this type of stuff. And then you've got FSG on the other hand, that are obviously proper for, we're going to have this model, we stay within our means, we build a profit. And when you got two things at the same time, it creates this thing where both parties are content, in my opinion, and we're seeing it. And I think it's time, and I think the chat will say as well, it's time to just take what Klopp's saying at face value. You have to now. He's got no hiding place anymore. There's no like innuendos. There's no if and buts. I used to go and make excuses. I can't do it anymore, man. I can't.
Fair enough. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not even saying I disagree with you. But I'm just a lot more, because from what he actually said, and I don't have time to search through to get the actual quotes because obviously we're on a schedule. But from what I remember, to paraphrase, it was along the lines of, we won't just find money because other people are buying players and other people are doing stuff. So it's like, should we just do things because other people are doing things? Now, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. if you just look at that as a sentence by itself and don't look at anything else, which obviously we have to do, you have to add context to everything. But if you just look at that one sentence right there, yeah. If you came home and you asked your mum for a pair of Reebok pump and she said, "Oh, what? Because all your friends have got it, I must find the money." Yeah. Are you telling me that you would believe it's because she doesn't want you to have Reebok pumps, or would it be because she might not be able to afford to get you Reebok pumps?
No, in that isolated instance, of course, I'd be like, my mum can't afford to go and get it. She don't want to give me the money, whatever it is, cool. But it's not just that sentence, is it? It's everything that Klopp said to me before. It's the fact that Klopp said, "Wow, Morton number 8, what a talent we've got," and then he goes out on loan. It's the fact that
would that not be like your mum getting a pair of your trainers, putting them in a washing machine, and be like, "Look, they're clean now."
Listen,
deflection tactics. Bro, it's deflection tactics, bro. Surely.
I don't know. With me, he's gone and spoken about how he's content with his squad. He's spoken about Ox. He's spoken about the availability of all these players when, as a fan base, we all know they're injury prone. I've seen him on multiple occasions get rid of players that he doesn't want. He's done it with Sacco. He's done it with loads of players. Ox was thrown fit last season. He's not available to play. He's gone down injured again. We haven't addressed that situation. Like, the first time we ever had a squad that was like, we looked at and we're like, "Rah, we've got mad depth," which was last season. It lasted one season, and then all of a sudden we got rid of that whole depth with Origi, Minamino, and everyone else leaving. It's like, yeah, in that isolated instance, yeah, I get it. I would look at it and be like, you know what, FSG don't have the money. But what it is, Klopp's like the mum in a situation. You know, the dad says, "Oh, look, we don't have the money for this." And Klopp's just like, "Yeah, we don't have the money for this." And it doesn't matter whether it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether Klopp, whether FSG are telling him whether he says yes or no, whether Klopp tells us we want a midfielder or we want this player or not. He's in tandem with FSG, and he wouldn't have signed a contract. He's not an idiot. He wouldn't have signed a contract extension if he weren't in agreement with the principles that FSG have. And we know what principles they've got. It's sell to buy, and we've been like this since the off. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the conversations that me and Cal have had, but I believe you can have 80% of what you want and be happy enough to stay, but still be annoyed at the 20% you don't get. And that's why I likened it to a relationship when I was talking to Cal, because you're never going to get everything you want. You know, you're never going to get everything you want. Like, just to make it easier so it doesn't look like I'm being, any kind of way. Women, you ask a woman, "What do you want from a man?" She'll probably give you 3 or 4 things. She'll say, at least 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Can he make 50 grand a year or more? Can he be muscly? There'll be certain things that she'll ask for, right? And let's say he makes over 50 grand a year and he's 6 foot tall, but he's not muscly. She'll be like, "All right, cool. So mine, he's not muscly. He's got those 2. She'll still go into a relationship with man. I think that's the situation with Klopp. I don't think him staying is definitely a sign he's not annoyed at the niggling transfer problem, but I think he's so happy with everything else that he's, you know what I mean? He loves it. He loves the training ground. He loves where he is. He loves living in Liverpool. He built a squad. Do you get what I mean? So
I hear that, but think about this, Drift, though, yeah? Where you're talking about the things that there's little niggly problems. But imagine the niggly problem is, and I address this to you, you've got your missus there, you're going out and everything, and you have those same type of things. You want her to be nice looking, good morals, really good with kids, all that type of thing. And she has all of them, but she goes out every night and gets drunk and doesn't remember what happens on the weekend. That's a bigger issue than just a little niggling issue like, she just doesn't.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a major problem. A major problem.
Exactly. It's a major problem. And now what we've got now in a situation where Bobby Firmino's now dropped and he's out of the team as a precaution. Yeah, so he's not involved at all. Gomez apparently's got a knock and can't even make the starting lineup when Nat Phillips is starting. That's a major issue. We're going through the same things that we happened with the centre-backs. So it's not now a small little issue. The midfield issue is a massive issue. The fact that our players drop like flies every season is a massive issue. Like, it's not a small issue now, but clearly Klopp's coming out and keep telling us it's okay, it's fine. It's like his little Mo from EastEnders at this moment in time. Then it's like he just gets abused and he's like, it is where it is. It doesn't matter. Well, do you know what I mean? At Dortmund, it was worse. So FSG's better. It's like, no, because we look at it now and yeah, in the grand scheme of things, like you said, 80% of it is great. we're in a better place than we've been for 30 odd years. We've won the first league. We've won everything. Cool. But how do we get to the next level? How do we go and create a dynasty that Chelsea's had, United's had, and Arsenal even had, where there was a period of time where you're like, that team was the best in the Prem. Because right now, when you look at it on paper, and that's what's going to happen in 10 years if we don't dominate the way we should. We're going to look back and be like, damn, we were really good, but it just looks like we were Leicester. We won one league and just disappeared all of a sudden. It looks like an anomaly, which isn't fair because we've got the best manager that we've ever had. Our players are probably pound for pound the best players we've ever had in our history. Yet we're not getting to that next level. So something's got to give, and we have to do something, for me, in my opinion anyway, to get to that next level. We can't just keep looking around and thinking, oh, well, it's all right. And if Klopp's mantra is, you know what, I'm happy with everything else, I'm happy with that 80%, but that 20%'s annoying, then for me, that's a massive issue, because you should be trying to go and get to that next level. You shouldn't be content with where we are and just competing. And I don't know if you heard about the quote from Klopp in regards to, you know, I just want to compete, from the Pep Linders book, where he's not interested in winning. He's just happy to compete.
No.
Yeah, that was a madness. When I heard that, it threw me off. So for me, like, that's really where I rest with it. Like, I don't think there's any.
Right. Okay. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like,
all right. Let me play devil's advocate then, because I've got to do what Cal does. Yeah. Keep the conversation going, because I don't even disagree with anything you're saying at all. But we're up against, and I don't even want to give them flowers like this. I really don't. But we're not haters, so let's not not tell the truth. This Man City team, over the last 5 or 6 years, not necessarily the one right this second, but just the Guardiola era of Man City, in my opinion, can't transcend Fergie, because he had 26 years, 21 years of domination within that 26 years. But this Man City team is the best team that's ever played in the Premier League, arguably English football history, in my opinion.
I'd agree with that.
You got if you just look at these 5 or 6 years of isolation, it's absolutely out of this world what they've achieved, what they've done, the levels of football, how they've changed things, just everything about it, right? So if they're in the top 5, let's just say as an example, of teams that have played in Premier League and maybe English history, is it really that bad if we're not better than them? Because it's not like we're in the era where there were no teams really that dominant, or, you know, a Man United team would win a league here or there, but you look and go, well, that team's not even that good. How did they win the Premier League? You know, that kind of, like that Chelsea team that won under Conte, and you're like, how did they win the league? Like, credit to him, but that team shouldn't have won the league. Like, we don't have that anymore. You look at the City team, you're like, well, of course they won the league. They're just better than everybody, and they're clearly better than everybody. Is it that bad to not be winning when you're competing against that juggernaut who would have beaten all them other teams in the past as well?
But it's like, I can throw this at you then. When Arsenal were competing at their pomp, they had a massive United team. And that institution that's United at its pomp. They were beating them. When Chelsea were coming up against them, they had United as well. Like, we can go back in history and always look back, and every team will have its challenges and its reasons as to why something was very difficult to do. City can look at us and be like, how the hell? We look at ourselves and say, you know what? To win the league, we got to get 90 plus points. You speak to the City fans, they're thinking the same thing about Liverpool. They've got their own trials and tribulations where they're like, oh, you know what? Like, I know we're doing this, but look at that team. Like, we want them to drop points and they just don't, you know? They're on our neck till it doesn't matter what happens. We spend money, it doesn't matter what happens. Every team's got their own like trials and their do you know what I mean? Their issues that they're going to have to go and attend to. I can't look at it and just be like, yeah, well, City were great, so I guess second's all right. No, because Arsenal could have done that when United were about. But there was a different mentality there. United could have done the same thing with Ferguson from back in the day when they looked at the Liverpool side when they were dominating. You could have easily gone and just sat back and be like, I mean, this team is so good. I mean, what can you do now? When you look at how United were dominant. Like you just spoke about the 20, they were dominant. Alex Ferguson was the face of the Premier League. It was like, you just not, they were like a Sunday League team, that one Sunday League team that wins the league every year. That's what it was. And then you had some new kids on the block that tried to come and create their own dynasties out of that. Arsenal probably looked at the same thing and thought, damn, like we're coming up against the Uniteds, you know? That's crazy. Look at the cult, look at the cult, look at the establishment. Liverpool have the same thing. We need to go and better that. And yeah, we look at it and City are that good, but we are also that good. It's not like we're getting 70 points or 75 points and looking at it and being like, oh, well, in a couple seasons, 80 points might have won it. So if we didn't drop points, we could have won the league. No, we're getting there, but missing out by 1 point. That's not acceptable. That's not. Do you know what I mean? When there's a gap, you can look at it and be like, you weren't good enough. But when there's a point and it's just that one result here, or if that midfielder was available, or if Thiago was fit enough, that's the issue that has to be addressed now, because that's the difference between elitism in football and elitism in athlete sports and not. Now, that's how I look at it. It's like if Tyson Gay or from the sprinters looked at him, we're like, if Usain Bolt weren't about, like, I would have been the fastest man in the planet. Like, nah, you're not doing it. Like Usain Bolt's about. So you've got to try break that. If you can't break it, you're second best. And I don't want Liverpool to be second best. And I know, Drift, you don't want Liverpool to be second best.
Yeah. Like I said, but I'm playing devil's. I agree with what you're saying, bro. I agree with you, bro. Like I don't disagree at all. But obviously, we just have to look at both sides, because that is the only thing that I think to myself. As you said, it is very unfortunate. We've got Usain Bolt it running the races while we're running it, because that's essentially what they're like. And who knows, in a couple of years' time, Newcastle might come true and it'll be the new Usain Bolt. And then it'll be like, this again, it'll be another team with all the money and they can do what they want. But, we just have to try and maybe be happy with the fact that we are competitive. Maybe be happy with the fact that we've collected a trophy nearabouts every year. Only the lockdown year was the only year we didn't collect anything. In the last 4 or 5 years. So, like, at least we are still getting something. We're not getting the ones we always want, but, like, at least we're kind of... I mean, is it 7 finals Klopp's been to? And he's won 4 of them. Don't get me wrong. You look at that and you think to yourself, oh, so that means it's like a half ratio, which doesn't sound that good on paper. But then when you add the context to all of the finals that we got to, where we shouldn't have got there and the team wasn't even necessarily good enough to get there, and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's a tough one, man. But I tell you what, though, basing off of what you were saying about the squad, just onto the next subject we'll spend a couple of minutes on. Sepp Vandenberg apparently is going to stay now because of this defender situation, which is crazy that obviously we'll get onto the starting lineup in a minute afterwards. But how do you feel about that? That instead of going out and buying maybe somebody else, Vandenberg may be kept to be an option? I mean, how do you feel about that?
Laughing, man. I don't know if to laugh or cry. We know what it is now, man. We just know what it is. We know what it is. We're not gonna strengthen like that. That's been my problem. We're not gonna go and do that. We're gonna keep Nat Phillips around when you could have made some change off of him and got someone else in. Oxlade-Chamberlain, the same thing. I mean, it's one of them ones where, like, I'm just tired. I'm not gonna lie. Look, Sepp Vandenberg, he done decent at Preston. He done decent, but is he gonna make the grade at Liverpool? Is he gonna break in and take over Konate's spot or Verge's spot in the next 3 or 4 years? I doubt it. Just get rid then if you're not good enough. That's the way I look at it. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, no.
It's no disrespect to them, because that's how football is. But when you're at, it's like when you're at a business. If your workers and your people you employ aren't good enough for a certain amount of time, you know the trajectory. Like you got to change that. You can't keep just keeping these players about, because what happens? Their stock drops, and then when you actually then get rid of them, you're getting less than what you could have got for them. When we saw the same thing with Harry Wilson. We saw the same thing with Origi. Now, there's plenty of players where we saw, and you're like, why did we wait this long? Because they didn't play a part in our team, in our season, in the running anyway. And we could have had some money from that. And the way our business model is set up, like, surely that's the way to go, to kind of recoup as many funds as possible to then reinvest back into the squad. Now, I don't know, man. Like,
I mean, the only thing I will say is at his age, and the fact that we do have 4 very capable centre-backs, even though we've got 2 of them injured and 1 of them not fully fit. I guess I can see the logic a bit. I think what worries me more is Vandenberg good enough, more than the fact that he's young and we're going to keep him around. I think that's more what I'm a little bit worried about. I mean, with Nat starting tonight, that would probably say that he's further down the line. But I reckon that's probably going to do one of them last minute moves on the last day of the window or something. I can't really imagine him being around for a whole year just being 5th or 6th choice, because he wants to play now. He's 24. He's at that age now where he can't just really be happy with being on the bench when he's been on the bench his whole Liverpool career. And he's got a taste of first team football from Bournemouth now. So he's probably making him So I don't know. I just thought I'd ask the question. It's a tricky one though, isn't it?
But quick one on you, like with Gomez, then like another one, we signed a contract and he's injured again. Like
it was an impact injury though, so I think that's quite unfortunate. Because remember that didn't he get kicked during the preseason game? Remember, didn't he roll his ankle or somebody like?
But wasn't he fit after that? Because he came on that right back after that, didn't he?
No. I think he's still got a knock from that moment, has he not?
So still from that moment.
I don't think he's come back since.
He wasn't on the bench last game.
I don't think he has.
He wasn't on the bench last game, then, was he?
I don't think he was. No.
Oh, okay.
I think we're being precautionary with him, and I think even today is I don't actually think he's injured. I just think they don't want to, because you know what it is with Joey. You can't rush him back just in case, because he is a player who you got to be very careful with when it comes to the injury. So I reckon if this game had come a couple of days later, maybe he might even been available. But Klopp's probably thinking, look, since you're the only one I've got who's kind of available with what happened with Matip, I'm not gonna risk you for one game and then you may be out for however long.
Because I assumed he was fit in the last game, but obviously Matip is ahead of him in the pecking order, and I thought he was on the bench last game. That's why this game coming around now, I'm like, surely.
Well, he's actually on the bench tonight, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He
is on the bench now. So I think it's precautionary with him. Yeah. I mean, let me just get through a couple of these supers before we get into the lineup. AA, big up yourself, bro. Says no striker or winger on the bench. Boy, we're gonna get onto that in a minute as well, bro. I'll read out the lineup. Star Days in Arsenal only won 3 Prems and United won 13. though. I mean, that is a point I was going to say. And there was 2 or 3 years between all of their ones as well, because Man United just kept dominating. But I mean, I know what you mean. We are like the Arsenal of that era where the team we're fighting against is a lot better than us and we're trying to compete, because Arsenal couldn't compete money-wise either with Man U back then. So, yeah. Akash, big up yourself, bro. Said, just seen our bench and get these rose-tinted glasses off. Oh, no, sorry. Just see our bench and get these rose-tinted glasses off. This is barely a top 4 making it squad. I love Klopp, but his stubbornness is going to stop us reaching the next level. We badly need a forward and a midfielder. I mean, I can't even disagree with that. So I'm going to read the lineup out. But just quickly, because we'll probably touch on this again properly afterwards. Actually, do you know what? No, I'll leave it because Trent deserves for it not to be a rushed segment. I was going to talk about something to do with Trent, but he deserves more than it being a rush segment. So we'll save that for another time. So let me read out the starting lineup for you people. Kickoff is 17 minutes away. Make sure you smash the like button, guys. Subscribe if you're new. And make sure you go and check out Jerry. Actually, let them know where they can find you quickly, bro, while I get this starting lineup.
Yeah, guys, if you could just ats obviously down just in the screen as well at the Jerry James Show on the YouTube channel, and then the Jerry James Show on Instagram and on Twitter as well. So just hit me up if you want to converse and just talk about football. Sports in general as well, but yeah, there should be a live reaction, instant reaction after the game with G, and a lot of people that subscribe to the channel will know as well. So G, keeping that G will be on there as well, and then Ash from Klopp Zone, so they should be doing their instant reaction. So please, if you could smash just a like and just subscribe, that's much appreciated, because I wouldn't have been able to do this without Kopish. So thank you so much to everyone in the chat, and Drift, Matt, and Cal as well. So big up.
Yeah, no, come on, bro. You're good at what you do, man. You deserve this, bro. So yeah, you heard it there, people. Make sure you go and support Jerry, guys. All right, let me just quickly read out this starting lineup. Alisson starts in goal. Nat Phillips is taking Matt's place at the back, alongside Van Dijk with Trent and Robbo. Flacco keeps his place in midfield, but obviously we know Thiago is out, so Harvey, Elliott, and Milner are in midfield with Flacco. And Mo, Diaz retain their position on the flanks, and Nunes is getting a starting lineup for the first time. The bench is Adrian, Gomez, Vandenberg, Tsimikas, Hendo, Ish. Is it? But how do you say? Why do I keep forgetting how to pronounce his name?
Bajcetic.
Yeah, is that what everyone knows I'm talking about? That little, the little bad boy that we've got. Yeah, Keita, Carvalho, and Clark are the bench. So hearing that bench, bro, I know a lot of people are just saying that's not even a top 4 bench. I wouldn't go that far personally. I think that may be a little bit reactionary. I think Gomez, Tsimikas, Henderson, Naby, and Carvalho is a brilliant bench. I just think there's no attacking options on the bench that makes that a little bit worrying. If you're looking at midfield and you're looking at defense, there's nothing wrong with that bench. Like, in my opinion,
there now as well, I think we'll be fine as well. I agree, Drift.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think where that bench is lacking is attacking options. That's what worries me. Who's going to really change the game up front if we're having problems with attack? That's what worries me with that bench there. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, Henderson and Naby, they are bench players now. So what's wrong with them being on the bench? I've got no problem with that. Tsimikas could arguably start. Gomez could arguably start. So, like, you know what I mean? Carvalho, we all agree he's going to be a little gem in the future. So I think it's the attacking options on that bench that makes that bench seem a bit weak. But how are you feeling about the starting lineup? Because I know everybody's going to start going on about your boy Millie, but I'm sorry, Millie was the best midfielder against Fulham. So he deserves this start, in my opinion.
100% he does. I think I prefer him to start over a Keita, 100%. I think my problem is why are Liverpool in a situation where after coming off a near quadruple season, why is Milner starting the second game of the season as a result of injuries? That shouldn't be the case. That just shouldn't be the case. Like, you saw what City did. City got rid of Fernandinho. Fernandinho played the odd game here and there. And Fernandinho was a bad boy DM. Why are we in a situation where we're having to rely on Milner to change the game against Fulham on the first day of the season? That's mad. That's mad. He should be coming on to control the game after we've won it, if anything. Or the youngsters should be getting a chance. But now we're relying on Milner more than I think I assumed we would have. And I think that's where my issue is. But in regards to how he's playing, or how he played even in preseason stuff, he's done really, really well. So bearded Milner, yeah, he deserves to start. I think it's worrying for Henderson though, the fact that Henderson hasn't gone straight into the midfield, because he's this captain of our team and there's injuries galore in midfield. And the fact that Milner starting ahead of him, I think that's a bit telling. It's a bit interesting.
So could that not be what everybody was asking for? And that's Klopp not being like favourites and actually thinking, look, you had a stinker against Fulham. Yeah. So I'm not good. And isn't that what we've all been asking for? We've all been saying, Klopp, can you not just do what you always do and just play a guy because you love him? He's proven what if I got to drop the captain for a poor performance, that's what everybody wanted, right?
No, 100%. I think he's done it now. So I mean, great. It's just odd because there's this talk about Keita getting an extension. So I don't know why Keita's getting an extension, unless it's just to preserve his value to sell him on in the summer. I really don't. I'm struggling to understand. There's no patterns with Liverpool's transfer strategies and the contracts and all that type of thing. So it's difficult to understand why players are being played and why they're not. It's like Keita he's got the number 8. Like, surely if he's come across his illness, he goes in like ahead of Milner. I assumed he's ahead of Milner in the pecking order, unless he's not fit either. I'm struggling to get it, but yeah, it is. I mean, I'm happy because it proves to a lot of people as well that Klopp, he's not necessarily a favoritism type of player, even though he does with certain players. I think the fact that Milner's playing, I think it's a good thing.
And I mean, I think a lot of people do get hung up on the age of Milner, which I get it, because at this stage of his career, he's in the twilight. But he don't look like a 36-year-old to me. Like, he is a 36-year-old, but he doesn't look like a 36-year-old. I think the only game that keeps on standing out in everyone's mind is when Foden tore him up in the Man City game last season. But Foden does that to most, like even young fullbacks, Foden does that too. Yeah. So let's keep it a buck. Other than that game, when has Milner ever let us down? Had a bad game, been batted up in a match, been out of place? Like, when? It doesn't really happen. I think people are so like, he's Milner, innit? He's boring Milner, as they say, and he's getting old. And I don't know. Like, in my opinion, I've said it before, and I'm not going to start a ruckus when we're going to be finishing up in a minute, but Milner is 10 times the player for Liverpool Naby Keita has ever been, and
100%.
Ox as well, and
100%.
Curtis Jones as well. So if he plays ahead of them, what's the problem?
You see, like Curtis Jones as an example, I don't think he's. I mean, I don't want to get into it, but I don't think a lot of our young players get, apart from Harvey and Trent because of injuries with Klein, I don't think our youngsters get a fair crack of the whip. You see, like at an Arsenal where an Emil Smith-Rowe or a Saka get 7 games, 8 games in a row to play. And it's 5 games they're good, 1 game they're trash, and 2 of the games they're just mediocre, right? Jones has had good games and he comes out of the team. You don't see him for the next 2 months, and then he comes in again and he's coming off the bench and you're expecting him to do something. So I think
that's big facts. That's big.
I think that hinders development. But I 100% agree though. Milner's like legacy within Liverpool. It's like quadruple what Keita's is for me. Like Keita's for me has done nothing. Like Keita hasn't exceeded. He hasn't even met expectations. Like he hasn't met it. Milner's exceeded expectations. When we signed Milner from City, I never expected to get this type of output from Milner, and the fact that even like broke the assist record in the Champions League one season, listen, he's a bad boy. So to be fair, I agree. He doesn't play like a 36, 37-year-old, and he's better than all of these people, than Ox stuff. He's never let us down. I agree with that, and I've heard you say it multiple times as well, and I've been on that train as well. He's never let the team down. 7 out of 10 consistently.
100%. And I mean, even Fernandinho, absolute legend of the Prem, but you saw his legs were gone. Like you could physically see it. For me, Milner's legs ain't gone yet. So until they go, I don't have a problem with him playing. But again, everyone's going to say that I'm just being biased because I love Milner. You know what I mean? Like I do. I can't even front. Milner's like in my top 10 favorite Liverpool players of all time. Like I love Milner. So maybe I do have a little bit of bias in there, but the man never lets us down. Like he really, really never lets us down. He's something else, man. So yeah. Well, we let me just nod. Are you jumping in? Just nod and let me know, bro. I can see you. Are you...
Quick hello.
Oh. I didn't want to.
Evening. What's going on, bro? Thank you very much, Jerry, for filling in, brother. Much appreciated, man.
No worries, man. No worries. I really appreciate having the opportunity to come on the platform.
It's a pleasure having you, bro. Having you.
And it won't be the last, bro. Like I said, we'll definitely get you on more, man. This was a very small, quick Monday night show because we've obviously got the game. So yeah, man. But people, make sure you go and hit up Jerry. Make sure you go and follow him. We'll definitely send me your details straight away, bro. That's going straight in the description so people know where to find you. So guys, make sure you go and hit the description. We'll be back in 5 minutes, guys, for obviously the game. We're doing the watch along. So make sure you jump out of this stream and jump straight back into that one. Smash the like button. And anything you want to say before we take the people out, Cal?
I missed the whole show.
I just wanted to
just big up to you two for holding it down. I appreciate it. Much appreciated. Hope the people liked it. I'm sure they did. And smash the like button for Drift and Jerry.
Yeah. We're this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring Jerry on, and we're gonna do a Monday show part 2. It's just gonna be not on a Monday, and we're gonna finish up because we got to finish talking about that policy. We got to talk about the Trent stuff as well that we didn't get to touch on as well. So yeah. Look out for that later on in the week, guys. We'll make sure we get that done. We'll have a featuring Jerry James show part 2 real soon. So, guys, as I said, make sure you smash the like button, and we will catch you in 5 minutes. Peace.
Okay, guys.